Hello, welcome to my garden. See, this is where it all begins, right here. Some pepper plants here. Then we go over here. Plenty of flowers. Bees love this stuff. Some lavender down there. Oh, yeah. Oh, beautiful. This is a mini lemon tree. Hoping it grows one day. Bring it inside in the winter. Alright, and here we go. This is the big garden here. Looks like some carrots are ready to go here. That's celery, more carrots, and this beautiful weed. It's called purslane right here. It's a lot like spinach as far as nutrition is concerned. Let's just get in here. We got some netting here because the squirrels love the strawberry plant. Oh, this thing's beautiful. Here we are. Kale as far as the eye can see. This big tomato plant. Oh, it's gigantic. So, I'm here today because I ate all the kale. Now I need to pick more. Other than that, it's pretty easy. Got some grapes here. Looks like could never eat any. Squirrels love it too much. We don't have enough netting for it. This is like a sort of purple kale. We got a black kale here and a green kale. Oh, very nutritious. And here we go. Some nice corn, organic corn. See that purpleness in the stalk? It's very nice. Here we go. What's all this? A few squash plants. It's like a whole ecosystem in here. Wow, there's bees! Oh, they love it here. Nice. All these flowers gonna turn into big squash. Gonna be eating for days. There's some squashes growing there, little guys. Some bigger ones in there. Here's some beets. I didn't know the squash would take them over though. And potatoes over there. As soon as these flowers go, harvest them. Some eggplant and parsley, arugula type things. Ooh. Some lettuce, and looks like those onions next to them are looking pretty good. Alright, that's the tour of the garden, everyone. So, hope you enjoyed it. Welcome, welcome. Just a day in the life of watering the garden here. Now we've already harvested most of the stuff in the garden. Lots of kale was growing back here. And now that's celery growing. Planted a lot of spinach and beets, but they're still little sprouty things. Over here is where bunnies came in and ate the entire bean plants. It's alright, they needed the food too. And we've been picking beans off of these things all year. Tons of beans. Strawberry field over there with beans interchanged, mixed in. Just trying to do a type of permaculture there, which was pretty exciting. Didn't work out quite as I'd planned. As you can see, there are way too many tomatoes all together, and that is not good for permaculture. Now they're more likely to blight the soil. And blight is just a disease of the soil. It looks like these dead leaves at the bottom there. So when those leaves touch the soil, basically their disease will stay in the soil, and then you can't grow plants that get blight there in the future. So that's supposed to be reduced by mixing the species of plants rather than cycling them. You can see here lots of eggplants. Now these things aren't growing best in the containers, so I recommend putting them in deeper soil. These containers make it so you have to water plants more frequently. The ones in the big beds don't need as much. Here's the greenhouse. Wish I could have shown you videos of it being put together and all that. But it's pretty beautiful. Built it ourselves. And here we got the big, see, this is how big they can get when they have enough soil space. You can go all the way to the top of this thing. And yeah, we're going to be filling this thing up with a lot of plants soon. The fall is coming and they'll need more warmth. And don't forget about your watering device here. They need lots. Actually, that's a big issue. Agriculture using too much water. That's why we go vegan. But also, mass-produced tomatoes, whatever it might be, they overwater it in the monocrops. Scientifically reduces nutrients. There's Canadian versions of tomatoes you can get all year long that are grown in greenhouses. They're the large ones. A little pricey and also non-organic, but also there's no pesticides needed on them. It's just a really fancy hydroponics system they've got. It's a ghetto door. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is some serious blight. Just put my hand through a giant spider web. It's all good though. They'll rebuild. These are basil plants, harvested, made tons and tons of pasta. When you take off the dead heads of the marigolds, they grow more. Pretty good pest deterrents. Yeah. This is a spinach plant that's coming out, just planted. And yeah, there's been bunnies in here eating the little leaves off of the top of the beet plants. So, could be better. Could be better. And this is what happens if you let your basil plants go too long without picking them. This is also a spotty, like mildewy type of disease that these tomato plants seem to be getting. Look like all the species diversity throughout here has prevented spread to these. And yeah, we've already picked quite a few red tomatoes. It looks like we're gonna have over a few hundred just in this small space. All right, Hope you enjoy. Later, watering everything's basically done. That's what I got out of it. Giant tomato and enough kale for my smoothie. So, it'll be a good day. And oh, a couple beans. Don't really count though, there's not enough of them. So we've been giving stuff away to neighbors. It's been pretty abundant. Can pick at least about this much stuff every 2 days or so. But also there were a few giant hauls. So it's been worth it if you have the time. Highly recommend doing it as food prices continue to go up. So I'm just talking about economics of the garden. So a garden this size, it's about 150 square feet of gardening bed. You need about half an hour, 3 days a week to work this thing, make sure it gets going. And we had huge yields. We had like $50 of strawberries in July and probably another 40 in June. Gonna get a few $100s of tomatoes, a few $100s of kale and beans, and $50 of peppers and eggplants. And the whole setup, fences, soil, wood, water, not including the time of about 90 minutes a week. It's $1,000 cost. So I think these things sort of pay for themselves in 3 years, 4 if you're unlucky maybe. Now this thing, this greenhouse, that's a different story. It's probably only really adding a couple $100 of value, and its cost is $13,000. We built it ourselves, so construction fees are another $7,000 or so. And yeah, just gotta keep on top of it. But there's a lot of plants you can grow that are really low maintenance. Like I don't have to be out here. If I wanted to plant sea buckthorn, for example, I could just make a field of trees and they're basically resistant to everything. Some plants are just real good. Some indigenous people said that we should not grow peppers and other warm-loving plants this year because it would be a cold summer and they wouldn't yield high. And that's been the case. So, last year I had kale all through here and I was getting lots and lots of kale. And I plan on going back to a more kale sort of vibe next year, but with a good mix of starchy vegetables, hopefully. The corn that was growing here last year, it didn't yield very high. Obviously corn needs a big field in order to thrive. So these are some of the things I've learned. Got rid of a lot of netting. Turns out the pests are pretty chilled out. Yeah. And yeah, this strawberry field was a great success. If I was in more about yields and I wanted to spend more time in the garden, I probably should have torn all this up in mid-August and replanted spinach and kale kind of things, kind of like I've done in these beds. And yeah, so there'll be a fall season to come. Obviously Toronto isn't the best place. The growing season here, 40% of the year on a good year, maybe 50% once the Arctic melts. I don't know. But parts of Vancouver can get 70% of the year. Even in Windsor, just stone's throw away, you can get nice growing season over half the year.